to my channel. My name is Paige, and it has been forever since I've done a video. I've just had a lot going on in my life. I felt like I couldn't juggle everything, so I am just trying to kind of slowly get back into doing some videos because I've missed talking about books with you guys and just being active on YouTube, because I really reading and books are a huge part of my life, and I am pretty active on Instagram, like Instagram stories. Not really, I need to do better on the post, but I want to get more active again in YouTube. So I figured that I would give you my June TBR. No, we're we're 6 days into June, but better late than never. I just have really missed being active and talking to you all about books, and I wanted to do it again. So today I am going to be telling you the books that I selected for my June TBR. So since June is Pride Month, I decided to mostly stick to books for Pride Month. So we do have a few, like 2 or 3 that are not LGBTQ plus related, but most are. I found this bingo, this bookish bingo. It's called Bookish First. Robin from Paperbacks and Planners used it, and I kept seeing her use it every month, and then I decided why not try it for a month. And I absolutely love having this bookish bingo to go by every month because I'm a huge mood reader. I read whatever I feel like reading, and TBRs don't often work for me, but I have found that if I follow the guidelines, like follow the prompts for the bookish bingo every month, that I am more likely to stick to a TBR because I want to get a bingo. Sometimes it still doesn't work. Sometimes I'm just like, I'll start a series. Like I recently started this series and I've been binging it, and so I've kind of had to try to like get back to my TBR for this month. But anyway, having that Bookish First bingo board every month to kind of base my TBR around has been great and has really made me start sticking more towards a TBR. So the Bookish bingo for this month has a lot of fun prompts on it. For these first 2, they did not have prompts, but I really wanted to read them because I have read a book by this author before and I really liked it, and I wanted to read more by this author. And these were kind of 2 shorter books that she had, and I decided to put them on my TBR as well. So the first one is Better Than Expected by Haley Cass. This is a follow-up novel companion book to When You Least Expect It. I read When You Least Expect It a couple of years ago. I loved it. It's a sapphic romance, and it is about Caroline. She's a lawyer, and Hannah is she's married to Michael, who is co-workers with Carolyn at the same law firm, and she is not happy in her marriage, and so she leaves Michael, and she asks Caroline to help her, you know, be her attorney against Michael, since she really needed help, since he is a lawyer himself, to fight for their daughter and to try to leave this marriage. And so that is When You Least Expect It, and this is just kind of a follow-up book in Hannah's point of view, because in the first book we only receive it in Caroline's point of view. It is a shorter book, and I put it on my TBR because I kind of wanted to read that conclusion. I didn't even know about this follow-up story until, you know, a couple of days ago, so I'm looking forward to kind of entering into that world again. I also included Down to a Science by Haley Cass. This is another sapphic romance, and this is the first book in this sapphic, I can't remember what the series is called, but it's a series, and it is a whole kind of a collaboration by different authors, and I'm really excited. I want to read this entire series. So but the first one is Down to a Science by Haley Cass. So this is about a girl named Ellie who is working on her thesis, finish up her PhD, and then she meets this girl, and it's a friends to lovers romance, and so I'm really excited to read another book by Haley Cass. There was a prompt for published in June, so I chose Runaway Rogue by Cassie. Cassie has a lot of short novellas, and I've recently read a couple of them, and I enjoy hers quite a bit, and I thought this one sounded intriguing, so I added it to my TBR, but it comes out on the 15th, so I have to wait until then to read it. The next prompt is A Character Takes Vacation, and I chose this one. I found it on Hoopla. I had never heard about it before until I found it, and it is My Spring Fling by Reba Bale. It is also a friends to lovers romance. They take a vacation and they meet each other, I believe, on vacation, and then this is a sapphic romance, and one of the women becomes a nanny for the other woman, so it's a friends to lovers and, you know, a nanny romance. So I thought that sounded very intriguing, and I added it to my TBR for the prompt of Character Takes a Vacation. The next one is the prompt is a 6-word title, so I chose TJ Klune's How to Be a Normal Person. This one has been on my TBR for a very long time. It is also on Hoopla as ebook. I really wish that it was audio, but it is ebook, so I'm like, well, I've been wanting to read it. This will just hopefully make me read it sooner. The next prompt is a cover, like a large body of water on the cover, and I chose this one because this cover like intrigues me. There's just some covers that pulls me in. I just want to read it for the cover alone, and this is one of those covers, and it is Until August by Emery Rose. It is the 3rd book in the series, so I'm a little hesitant about that, but what I believe that it can be read as a standalone, so hopefully that'll be the case. But I think this is a love triangle, and I am a sucker for love triangles, especially when they're done, you know, perfectly. I love the ones where you just don't know who she's going to end up with. I love that. And you're kind of like almost pulling for both of them at the same time, you know, like you just, those are just the perfect ones to me. They just have so much angst and longing. So I've been wanting to read this one as well, and the cover drew me in, and it has like a ocean on it, so that would be perfect for that prompt. And I'm looking forward to reading it, and this is will be on KU. So the next prompt is LGBTQ plus SFF. And I put Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I have had this one on my TBR as well. This is like a sapphic fantasy romance, and I am highly looking forward to this one. I love the name of it, and from the cover alone, I think this is kind of like a monster. They're not monster, but paranormal. Because they're different types of, you know, beings, creatures. So I'm looking forward to it. The next prompt is award nominated, and I chose One Last Stop by Cassie McQuiston. This one's from Hoopla, and this one I've seen everywhere. I've seen the cover so many times. I've seen so many people recommend this book. I'm actually really excited about this one as well. It is also a sapphic romance, and one of the heroines meets the other at the like a train or subway in New York, and the girl looks like she's dressed like she's from another time. So I think this is a time traveler romance, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't really looked too much into it, just reading the synopsis alone. I love time traveling romances, so I am looking forward to this one as well. So the next prompt is set in New York, so I chose What If It's Us by Becky, Albertalli, and Silvera. I don't typically read a lot of YA anymore, but this one has been on my TBR for a long time. It was recommended by somebody, and I added it to my TBR. It's kind of like a coming of age, you know, story. They're teenagers and kind of finding it's young love, and those stories are usually cute, not exactly what I want to read all the time, but one here and there is fine. Sometimes they can be kind of filled with a lot of teen angst and teen drama. But I put it on my list since it is a male romance, and it's been on my TBR, and they're in New York, so it's perfect for the prompt. The next prompt is a title that starts with the letter J, and let me just tell you, I found that incredibly difficult to find a book that starts with J. There just aren't very many of them. But I found this one from Scribd, and it is Just Like That by McCade. This is an MM book, and this is like a professor. He's not a student. He used to be a student there, but he came to work under this professor at this academy, and it is their love story. So I figured that I would give it a try. It is the first in the Alban Academy series, and it only has 258 reviews on Goodreads, so I don't think a lot of people know about it. So I'm looking forward to reading it and seeing if I like it. The next prompt is the character starts a new school, and I chose Home Field Advantage by Dahlia Adler. This is also another YA, which I typically don't read a lot of, but this is a sapphic YA romance, and of course it is widely popular. I've seen this one everywhere as well, but I believe one of the girls is a cheerleader and one is on the football team. So I really like that, the sports aspect of it and how different they are, and kind of an opposites attract type of thing. I don't know if it's going to follow the Triss 6 Venom like vibes from Penelope Douglas where they're enemies or not. I don't really look too far into books. I just know that this fit that prompt, and it's also one that is highly liked, so I decided to give it a try. The next prompt is an Arthur's name that starts with the letter R, and I chose Game Changers by Rachel Reid. This is a male hockey romance. One of the heroes is a hockey player, and he meets the other hero. I think he works like at a juice bar or something. I don't know, like at the rink or near the rink, and so it is their romance, and that's all I know of it. And I love hockey romances, so I'm so excited to read another hockey romance, and hopefully I'll like it. The next prompt is audiobook by Black Arthur, and I chose Can't Resist Her by Kianna Alexander. This one I recently found because I actually found it by Alexis Hall had promoted one of his books that was free and for KU on Kindle, and I had already read it, but the list also included this book. I have never seen it before, but they also include the audio on KU, which I love it when that happens. This is a sapphic romance, and the heroine Summer comes back home where she used to live, and she meets this girl that she used to know back when they were in school. They shared a kiss or something back in their senior year of high school, and so I think this is kind of a rekindling of an old flame type of romance. I am a little nervous about this one because the ratings are kind of mixed. Some DNF, some say they're bored with it, so I don't know, we'll have to see. I'll listen to it and see if I like it. So the next prompt is a trans protagonist, and I chose A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall. I bought this ebook like back when before it had released. I still haven't read it, and I really want to because I do enjoy their books. So this is a historical romance, which I don't read a ton of, but I really like Alexis Hall's flowery, kind of quirky writing. His characters always make me laugh. They're very, very quirky, kind of funny characters, and I love being in his books. They just, I don't know, they're just so cute. They're adorable. All the characters are adorable, like the main characters, the side characters. They're really fun books to read. And so I'm looking forward to reading this one, even though it's a historical romance. And I actually have 2 historical romances on my TBR for this month, so that's very, very big for me. I usually don't hardly read any at all. And so that leads me to the next prompt, which is set in a different country, and I chose A Little Light Mischief by Sebastian. This is the 3rd book, I believe, in the series, but I don't think that reading it will hinder, take away from the other books. I think it can be read as a standalone as well. This is a sapphic romance, a sapphic historical romance. One of the heroines is kind of like a lady's maid, and she helps her, she works for this person, and she meets the other heroine somehow at that place she works at, the house she works at, and it's their romance. It's a very short novella, but I found the audio in Hoopla, so I'm going to try to read 2 historical romances this month. The next prompt is for a musical protagonist, and I chose Pop Star by Eden Finley. I love Eden Finley's books. I have read except for the very last book, I've read their series, Fake Boyfriend series. I love the Fake Boyfriend series. And this one is Pop Star. It's about a guy, it's an romance, and it is about a guy who is a pop star. He was part of a boy band, and now they have broke up, and now they're all kind of doing their own thing. And something happens to where he feels threatened. I think a fan broke into his house, so he has to hire a bodyguard to stay there at this house with him, and it is their romance. I'm really excited for it. It's a bodyguard romance, and of course it's Reid and Finley. I love their books, so I'm super excited for this one. The next prompt is include a day of the week in the title of the book. So this one was kind of tricky as well, but I found one that was actually on my TBR. Sometimes I will hear a book recommended by somebody, and I will add it to my to be read bookshelf on Goodreads, and then I kind of forget about it, and then I kind of like find it afterwards, like find it later when I'm actually looking for something, and I'm like, oh, I don't remember this, but I have it on my to be read. So somebody along at some point had recommended this, and I thought it sounded good. But this is Mondays with You by KG Lewis. Always want to say KG Lewis. This is an MM romance as well, and the hero West, he has struggled to put the pieces of his heart back together since his friend had left like 10 years earlier, but he runs back into him like 10 years later, and then they're forced into a fake relationship from his boss or something like that. So I think this is kind of a fake dating turn, you know, lovers relationship. The next prompt is set in summer, and I chose Honey Girl by Morgan Roger. This is a sapphic romance, and Grace has a newly completed PhD in astronomy, and she goes to Vegas to as kind of like a vacation or girls trip to celebrate, and then she winds up being married to this other girl, and that's all I know about it. But it sounds really fun, and kind of a sort of a fake relationship aspect to this book as well. The next prompt is standalone, and I chose this sapphic romance. It is Anyone But Her by Erica Lee. This book also has the fake dating aspect, but not in the way that you would think. It's not between the two heroines of the book. So this girl, Regan, is friends with Jamie, and he asks her to be his fake girlfriend, even though she knows she's a lesbian. You know, he asked her to do this for going back home to meet his family, and so she agrees to do that. But when she goes back home, she meets his sister. His sister is, you know, very much attracted to her brother's girlfriend. So this one's really intrigued me. So the next prompt was wrecked on Instagram. I'm sure this book has been wrecked a lot because this series is very highly popular. I read the first book in this series. I am going to skip the second book just to read this one. But this is Count Your Lucky Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur. I read Written in the Stars a while back. I really wanted to read this book. I think it's okay if I skip the second book and just read this one, because this is one that I've really wanted to read. The reason I hadn't progressed in the series is because if there is any hesitation on my part, then I just skip it and go to something else. And so, like, just read the book. This is a sapphic romance, and they were former best friends, and this is like a second chance love story, and I'm very excited for it. I loved Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur, so I'm sure that I will like Count Your Lucky Stars as well. Very excited to read that one. So anyway, those are all the books that I have on my TBR for June. What are you planning on reading for June? Have you read any of these that I mentioned, and what did you think about them? I'm really going to try to stick to my TBR so I can get a lot of these read, because a lot of them sound so fantastic, and I just need to stick to my TBR. There are just some books that pop up that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to read that now, and if I don't read it now, I'll never read it. So, and that is sometimes why I hate reading a series, because I will get hooked on a series and I won't want to finish. I won't want to read anything else besides that series. Lately it's been a series by Zoe Draven. So anyway, I'm trying to stick to my TBR this month and read all these books. We'll see next month if I have accomplished that or not. Anyway, it has been so good being back, making my first video in a while. I have really missed talking with you all, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!